Hi, and welcome to this PMP class. I designed this class specifically in mind for project managers who are interested in sitting for the PMP exam, but more importantly, interested in just focusing their time in studying the information that's needed for the exam. There's countless of pieces of information out there. Why spend hours and hours trying to sift through all that information and guess when you can actually step by step go through every single question that I studied when I passed on my first attempt? And I will show you how to do just that. We're going to make sure that no stone is unturned. So at the end of the day, you will save yourself the headache of trying to guess what's going to be on the exam. So if you're a project manager who's looking to sit for the PMP exam for the first try, or if you're a project manager who needs to retake the exam, learn all the questions that I actually studied when I passed the exam on the first try. And I know that you can actually do it too. Focus on what's actually on the exam versus spending hours on information that's not even on the exam. So I encourage you to consider this class. If you are interested, we can guarantee that at the end of the day, we're going to save you time and we're going to save you the headache by telling you exactly what you need to focus on. And I look forward to seeing you on the inside. Hi, and welcome to this quick introduction into the PMP and more importantly, how do you actually pass the PMP exam on your first attempt? In this course, we're going to be going through a series of questions to help you get acclimated on how to do just that. Now, the PMP is notorious, and I mean notorious, for providing you scenario-based questions. Now, you may be saying, what the heck is that? Well, essentially what they're going to do is they're going to throw you into situations of the work environment and then say, okay, by the way, this happened. Now, how would you as the PM actually handle it? And so you need to understand that those are the kinds of questions you're going to have when you sit for the PMP exam, and you need to be comfortable on how to answer those style questions. They're not going to say, oh, by the way, define this or define that. They're really just going to say, here's a work situation. How would you handle it? So we're going to go ahead and actually read the questions. We're going to go through what options you have, and then we'll pause the video, give you a chance to answer it, and then more importantly, come back and actually show you the answer and explain exactly why that is the answer. So let's go ahead and actually look at question number one. Question number one says that a project manager leads a software development project in a hybrid environment. Now, during the project planning, the PM identified a risk where a technical resource for a critical path item may not be available when needed. 1 week before the resource is needed, the technical engineer had a personal emergency and had to take leave. So essentially it's saying, how would you handle it? What would you do next? So let's go ahead and go through the options. Option A is you're going to consult the risk register for the appropriate plan and implement that. Option B is you're going to revise the project plan and move the task to a time when the technical resource will be available. Option C is you're going to review the business requirement with the stakeholder and exclude the task assigned to the technical resource. And option D is to update the lessons learned report and the risk log to reflect that risk actually materialized. So we're going to go ahead and pause the video, give you a chance to answer it, and then resume it with the actual results. Okay, so here we are back. Hopefully you got the answer correct, and the correct answer is A. You're going to consult the risk register for the appropriate risk response and then implement that. Now, I want to point this out that there's a couple things you want to look for when you're reading the PMP questions. First of all, they're going to throw in a lot of fillers that you're not necessarily going to need to read, but really skim with your eyes and look for those key words. Obviously, the beginning sentence, the fact that it's a hybrid environment, really has nothing to do with answering this question. But when you come here, it says you're in the project planning phase, so that's kind of important to know right away. The second big key and the giveaway here is that you've identified a risk. Now, anytime you find that you say you identified a risk, there's a couple of things that you need to come into play here. One is obviously that there is a risk register that you create initially in the planning phase to account for every possible risk that at that juncture you may potentially encounter. And then more importantly, in that risk register, it's going to identify what you may potentially do to resolve that issue. And so right away, when you see identified a risk, you're going to think risk register. Second thing you're going to think of is risk management plan. It goes synonymous hand in hand with the risk register. So when you read these questions, just look for those key words here. Obviously, it's a situation that you're going to encounter on the PMP exam because you more than not are more than likely going to be asked, hey, guess what? There was someone that was supposed to start working on the project, and at the last minute or for whatever reason, whether they had an emergency with their family, they can't start. How would you handle it? So be prepared for this actual type of question. Now, looking at the actual options, other things that you want to point out is when you read those options quickly, look for anything that looks odd. Like right here, update the lessons learned report. Lessons learned report has nothing to do with risk. So right away, you know that that is not an option for an answer. Business requirements with the stakeholders. Well, that has nothing to do with you identifying a risk here in this type of situation. So you know right away business requirements have nothing to do with it. Take that off the list. Option B, which is where it may be a little deceiving. It says here that you're going to revise the project plan and then move the tasks for the technical resource when they're available. The project plan is not going to be actually modified in any type of situation where you encounter, guess what, the IT guy can't work on the project. So just keep in mind, knowing that, you know right away that option B is not the answer. And option A is the answer because right away you see, boom, risk register. Now, obviously, it goes without saying you're going to read the complete answer, but hopefully that gives you enough guidance as to what to look for in this type of situation and how to answer this specific question when it comes up on the PMP exam. Now let's move on to question number 2. Hi, and welcome back to question number 2. We're going to go ahead and read question number 2, give you the options, and then pause the video to give you the opportunity to, in fact, answer it. So question number 2 is, you have a team that just adopted the Agile approach. Now, during your daily stand-up meetings, the team expressed concerns about task delays. The project leader worked with the product owner to get clarity on those features, and the product leader even asked the team to fast track those features to ensure timely delivery. Now, the sprints are being completed, but either with fewer features or low quality. And so the question is, what should the project leader have done to ensure success? So it's insinuating here that the project leader forgot to do something to ensure the success of the situation. Option A says that the project leader should have asked the team to create an impediment log and keep it updated for use in the next sprint planning. Option B is the project leader should have directed the team to possible solutions to help in removing the impediments and contribute to a timely delivery. Option C suggested to the team to add impediments as work items in the product backlog to be fixed in the next sprints. And option D, the project leader should have empowered the team to improve their processes, tools, and interactions to be more effective in delivery and removing impediments. Now, before we pause the video, I just want to emphasize here, in this type of situation, they're using the word project leader. They're not necessarily using the word project manager. But if you come across a situation like this with a PMP question where they use project leader in lieu of project manager, just ensure that you will answer it as if it's saying project manager. So that way you can be more than likely highly probable to get the correct answer. So we're going to go ahead and pause the video momentarily, give you a chance, and then resume with the actual answer. Okay, so here we are back with the correct answer, and the correct answer is D. So when newly adopting an agile process and your team is expressing concerns in regards to task delays, It's saying that the project leader should have empowered the team to improve their processes, tools, and interactions to be more effective in delivery and removing impediments. I want to emphasize this with a humongous exclamation point that when it comes to the PMP, they are notorious by saying, oops, the team is experiencing delays. They're concerned about reaching the end of the cycle of the sprints and completing all the work. And then it says, okay, what should the PM do? Or in this case, the project leader. More than not, the correct answer is going to be empower. And that is the key word here, empower. Empower the team, motivate the team, encourage the team. Anytime you see that as an option for the answer for what the PM should do, more than likely it's probably one of the two options for the correct answer. So in this case, it just in fact is exactly that. And you're going to see this type of scenario-based situation definitely on the PMP in different types of situations. The situation is that your team is either concerned about a delay or your team is experiencing a delay. That is a real life example that you're going to find. And if you see that one of the options are that the PM should empower them, then more than likely you're going to find that that is the correct answer. Now, I also want to point this out that if you ever see, like in the other types of options, it says here that the project leader asked them to do something. In this case, it was create an impediment log. Or in this case, the project leader directed the team to do something. Anytime you see that the PM is being asked, or in this case, project leader is telling the team or dictating to the team, do this, do that, do this, do that, it's highly probable that that is not the answer to the actual question. A PM never tells the project team to do anything. Now, the PM will encourage them to follow processes in place and definitely motivate them. But the PM is not going to say, do me a favor, create this, create that, create this. It's just not going to happen. So hopefully this type of situation gives you a better understanding on how to answer questions that are based around task delays. And we look forward to seeing you into the next question. Hi, and welcome back to question number 3. Now, in question number 3, we're going to read the question, give you the options, and then pause the video to give you a chance to review and answer it, and then we will resume the video with the actual results. Now, question number 3 says, a team is delivering features to a customer at every iteration. After completing each iteration, the customer is invited for a review. However, the customer is frequently not available, and the review is often delayed, which results in an increased rework for the team. What should the project manager do? So option A is the project manager should include the customer in daily project activities to gain the required guidance. Option B, plan ahead and define the best way to review the deliverables with the customer. Option C, request the customer to clarify all requirements at the start of each iteration. And option D is ask the customer to review the deliverables in each iteration based on their availability. Now, again, this is a real life work example that you're going to encounter on any project. You're experiencing the need for a stakeholder to review and actually maybe potentially sign off on the work that you've done. For whatever reason, they are MIA and you're finding it causing a delay in your actual project. Now, you are going to encounter this style of question possibly on the PMP. So we're going to pause the video, give you a chance to answer it, and then resume with the results. Okay, so here we are back, and if you answered it correctly, the answer is B. So you have a customer that you're looking to review the work, and they are repeatedly MIA. You're unable to reach them and acquire them to actually sign off on the requirements and the work completed, and it's causing a bit of a pickle on your project. And the solution for the project manager is answer B. Plan ahead and define the best way to review the deliverables with the customer. And keep this in mind that really what the PMP is looking for is, are you as a project manager accounting for this type of situation? And as you begin connecting with your stakeholders, are you establishing guidelines of communication with these stakeholders to really ensure that the project goes as smoothly as anticipated? And in this case, the PMP is suggesting that as a project manager, that you communicate with your stakeholders ahead of time and ask them, what is the best way that we can go ahead and establish a review process on the work that you need to sign off on? And so that is basically this type of situation. Hopefully you got the answer correct. And we look forward to seeing you into question number 4. Hi, and welcome back to question number 4. We're going to read the question, give you the options, and then pause the video momentarily to give you an opportunity to answer it. So question number 4 is, a project manager is part of a team that's launching a series of features to comply with a new regulation. Now, the team only has 6 weeks to complete the release of these features into the legacy applications. During a stand-up meeting, a software engineer indicated that the development of an important feature is on hold until an assigned developer, or in this case designer, completes a specific task. This delay is a serious roadblock to meeting the release date. What should the project manager do? Option A, meet with the design team manager to inform them of the current status and request an additional designer. Option B, ask the software engineer to move forward without completing the important feature. Option C, contact the design team manager and ask to reconsider the priority list based on the latest situation. Or option D, meet with the designer to share the current status and develop a solution to complete the task. And we're going to pause the video momentarily, give you a chance to answer, and then resume with the actual results. Okay, so here we are back, and hopefully you got the answer correct, and it is actually answer D, which is the project manager should meet with that designer to share the current status and develop a solution to complete the task. Now, when it comes to the PMP, they are notorious with giving you work-life situations where conflict may exist. Now, it goes without saying that if you're looking for the correct answer where conflict exists, more than not, the correct answer is that you are going to meet with that individual, or maybe more than just one individual, that you're going to meet with them to understand the root cause of the situation, and then more importantly, come up with possible solutions. And in this case, meet with the designer to share the current status and develop a solution is the correct answer. So just remember that if you're taking the PMP exam, that conflict equals meeting to discuss and come up with the options to resolve the situation. Now, I also want to point out here that it says one of the options says that the PM would suggest moving forward without completing an important feature. Now, it goes without saying that never will that be the correct answer to any style of question on the PMP. A project manager is never going to suggest moving forward on a project excluding a specific piece of functionality. That is just not going to happen. Now, option A is that the PM would request additional designers or maybe developers. Possibly, but in reality, that's not the first line of defense. What the PMP wants to know is, do you understand the first steps on how to resolve an issue? And the first step is to understand what is, in fact, the issue. So hopefully you got this answer correct, and we look forward to seeing you in question number 5. Hi, and welcome back to question number 5. So let's go ahead and actually read the question. We'll read the options and pause the video to allow you to answer it. Question number 5 says that a project manager is working with a customer's team on a new project, and some of the product definitions and requirements are still not clear. But the customer wants to start the activities as soon as possible, and the organization is also expecting the product delivery for a specific date due to regulatory requirements. Now, due to the nature of the project manager has made a decision to use the hybrid approach. Now, the question is, why did the project manager choose a hybrid approach? Option A, they chose a hybrid approach because it will enable the project activities to start immediately and allow for a plan for the requirements definitions. Option B, they chose a hybrid approach because it will allow the project manager to revise the product specifications. Option C, they chose a hybrid approach because it will allow for management of the requirements uncertainties as well as the date restrictions. And option D is they chose the hybrid approach that will ensure the delivery date is accomplished and will eliminate the product uncertainties. We're going to go ahead and pause the video and then resume it to show you the results. Okay, so here we are back with the actual answer, and hopefully you got it correct. The answer is A, that they chose a hybrid approach because it'll allow the project to start immediately. And yes, it will in fact allow for you to plan for the requirements that at this stage they've identified as unclear. Now, when you go through answering the PMP, what you also want to do is look at the other options that they give you. Really try and look at some keywords in those options and say whether or not it's actually correct. Now, in this case, when it came to option B, it said here that the hybrid approach will allow the project manager to revise the specifications. Well, if you know anything about the project manager's role, the PM will never, and I say never, be the one actually modifying the requirements or making that decision. It's obviously a collective decision that needs to have justification for doing so throughout the life cycle development. So when you look at that, it's not really why you would choose an approach. So that one you can eliminate. The second option here, let's look at option D. It says that by choosing this approach, you'll ensure the delivery date. No approach, whether you choose whether waterfall, agile, or even hybrid approach, will guarantee the delivery of your project on a specific date. So when you see those kinds of things in options, my point is this: right away through the process of elimination, you can go through them as you take the PMP exam and eliminate as many as you can to ultimately come to the correct answer, which in this case was A, which is it allows you to start a project immediately. Hopefully you got the answer correct, and we look forward to seeing you in question number 6. Hi, and welcome back to question number 6. Question number 6 says that a project team has expressed concerns that a certain remote team members are not able to collaborate with the larger project team due to their work schedules. Now, the project manager is confused since the entire team is located in the same time zone and believes that there are other factors at play. So the question is, what should the project manager do next? Option A, the PM should implement new options. Option B, the PM should examine the team's virtual needs. Option C, the PM should rectify the ground rules violations. And option D, the PM should review the performance formally. We're going to pause the video, give you the opportunity to answer, and then resume with the actual results. Okay, so here we are back with the actual answer, and the answer is B. Hopefully you got that correct. When faced with a situation where there are certain members that cannot or supposedly cannot attend remote meetings, the PM should examine the team's virtual needs. Now, if you notice here, the PMP question, it says here that what should the project manager do next? Now, keep in mind that when you read these questions, you need to understand, is the PMP asking you what should the PM do next? Or are they asking you what should the PM have done to prevent the situation? Now, in this case, they're saying what should the PM do next? And as I've often said, that if it comes to any type of issue, the first thing that the PM should do is understand the issue so that they can understand how to fix the situation. And in this example, if you look at the situation, the PM became aware of an issue, but what they needed to do is they needed to examine the situation. And in that answer, it is examine the team's virtual needs. So at the end of the day, when you're taking your PMP exam, make sure that you understand inherently, unless they stated that they did it already, that the PM needs to understand the issue, whether that's meeting with the team or examining the situation to then ultimately come up with solutions on that actual issue. Hopefully you got the answer correct, and we look forward to seeing you in question number 7. Hi, and welcome back to question number 7. Question number 7 says that a company is implementing a project with team members located in different countries and time zones. Individual performance is satisfactory, but the team's performance overall as a whole is low, especially when it comes to terms of group activities. So the question is, what should the project manager do? Option A says that the PM should review and reassign team assignments. Option B, that the PM should facilitate communication and team building. Option C, that the PM should negotiate for new team members. Option D, that they should review and update the communication management plan. We're going to go ahead and pause the video, give you an opportunity to answer, and then resume the video with the actual results. Okay, so here we are back with the actual answer. Hopefully you got it correct, and the correct answer is option B. Now, when faced with a situation where you have a team that has low morale, in this type of situation, they also said, if you notice here, that the individual performance was satisfactory. So you know that there might be other issues involved. But what should a PM do? According to the PMP, they should always facilitate the communication with the intent to build the team together. Team building is huge in the world of PM, and especially you're going to find different flavors of this style of question. And just bear in mind that if you ever come across a situation where there's conflict within the team and you need to understand what the issue is, if one of the answers focuses on building the team, training the team to work together, anything to bring these individuals together, more than not, that is probably one of the correct possible answers to that specific question. So keep that in mind, and hopefully you got this correct, and we look forward to seeing you in question number 8. Hi, and welcome back to question number 8. Question number 8 says that during a third iteration of a project, the product owner requested another mandatory feature. This also happened in the previous 2 sprints, which resulted in a failure and caused frustration within the team. The question is, what should the project manager do next? Now, bear in mind this question poses a repeat situation from the product owner in which they're consistently requesting mandatory features be completed, and it's causing an impediment in the development life cycle. So option A, it says the PM should request the Scrum team to prioritize the product backlog. Option B, the PM should ask the product owner to prioritize the backlog with the project team. Option C, the PM should call for an internal meeting to discuss the changes and their value. And option D is that the project manager should incorporate the changes in the last sprint before the first release. We're going to go ahead and pause the video momentarily to give you an opportunity to answer, and then resume the video with the actual results. Okay, so here we are back with the actual answer, and the correct answer is C, and hopefully you got that correct. When faced with the situation that you have the product owner consistently asking for mandatory features to be completed, now bear in mind if it's causing an impediment in your actual project and putting a damper on the productivity and morale of the team, the PM should always, as a first attempt, bring people together. And in this case, it's saying that the PM should call for an internal meeting to discuss the changes and their value. Now, bear in mind that in the PMP world, they want to see that as a PM, you are bringing people together to resolve issues. Now, if you have an internal meeting with this product owner, you can establish some future ground rules and set a precedent as to how many times, or when, more importantly, that the product owner will request changes to be completed. You will also eliminate any possible frustration, as they say here, within the team. So they're saying, what should the PM do next, which is the first step. And the first step is, in fact, bringing people together to discuss the issue, to then resolve the issue. Now, there are a couple other options here that maybe don't look correct. The request the Scrum team to prioritize the backlog, that kind of request would never come from the project manager. Now, it is possible that you could ask the product owner to prioritize the backlog with the project team, but bear in mind that what the PMP is looking for is, what should you as a PM do first in resolving the issue? And in this case, again, it's to bring people together to discuss the issue with the intent to resolve the issue. Hopefully you got the answer correct, and I look forward to seeing you in question number 9. Hi, and welcome back to question number 9. Question number 9 says that you have 5 agile teams working together on a product that they recently performed release planning. Now, midway through the project, each team showed that their progress was on track. But when all of the teams were integrated at the product level, many of the integration issues were observed. The overall product release progress declined, with the prediction showing that the combined content will not be able to be accomplished. So the question is, what should the project manager have done differently to prevent this situation from happening? Option A, the PM should have performed a scrum of scrums on a regular basis to help the team remove impediments. Option B, the PM should have formed a separate quality assurance team to test all the items coming from each team at the end of each sprint. Option C, they should have arranged an online session of integration concepts and suggested tools to the teams. Or option D, that the PM should have ensured frequent and continuous integration of work to obtain early feedback and continuous learning. So we're going to go ahead and pause the video momentarily, give you an opportunity to answer, and then resume the video with the actual results. Okay, so here we are back with the correct answer. Hopefully you got it correct. And the correct answer is D. That when faced with a situation where the expectations are not being met and the deliverables are not satisfying your stakeholders, that in order for you to prevent this, the PM should have ensured frequent and continuous integration of the work to obtain early feedback and continuous learning. Now, it goes without saying that if you have frequent get-togethers and evaluations of these deliverables with the stakeholders and get the stakeholders' early feedback throughout the development life cycle, that you're going to be able to modify and correct any issues that you encounter rather than waiting till later. And that is the style of question you are definitely going to find in some flavor, more than not on the PMP exam. So what they're looking for is, again, emphasizing not what can you do to fix it, but what can you do to prevent it from happening in the first place. So remember, if you see a scenario question that says deliverables are not being met or meeting the expectations of actual stakeholders, always look for an answer that may suggest frequent examination of those deliverables and getting frequent feedback from the stakeholders. Those are the key words, frequent feedback. So look for those styles of answers. Now, if you look at the other options just quickly, you can see that there's some funniness to the other options. Here it says, perform a scrum of scrums. There is no such thing as a scrum of scrums in the agile world. So right away, you know that that is not correct. Here it said, form a separate quality assurance team. Goes without saying, yes, you may have a QA team, but more than not, throughout the development lifecycle, you're not going to have QA being done separately via a team throughout each sprint lifecycle. Hopefully you got the answer correct, and we look forward to seeing you in question number 10. Hi, and welcome back to question number 10. So question number 10 basically says that a project team member is having difficulty in delivering an assigned task for the project that is at risk of being delayed. Now, the main issue is that this team member does not understand the new system that was recently implemented. So the question is, what should the PM do? Option A, the PM should ask the team member to learn the new system as on-the-job training. Option B, the PM should issue a change request to extend the project schedule. Option C, the PM should escalate the team member's performance to the project sponsor. And option D, the PM should assign an experienced resource to support the team member. Now we're going to pause the video momentarily, give you an opportunity to answer it, and then resume the video with the actual results. Okay, so here we are back, and the correct answer is A, and hopefully you got this correct. The correct answer when faced with challenges or delays or potential delays in your project due to not knowing something, whether it's a system or a process, the PM should always either recommend or facilitate the process of getting the training to the actual team or team member. And that is the correct answer, that the PM should ask the team member to learn the new system as on-the-job training. Now, remember this, that it's not saying the PM is mandating the training. It's saying that the PM is doing their job by either suggesting or asking the team member to get the training. Now, I want to also point out that you are, in fact, more than likely going to find this question on the PMP exam. In any type of situation that you find this type of question, the answer is never, and I say this, never to escalate the team member's performance to their supervisor or to the project stakeholders or the project sponsor. So if you ever find a situation of performance issues with someone on your team, you are never going to see that the correct answer is, do me a favor, talk to their manager. More than likely, if there's performance issues, as in this case identified because they don't have the knowledge of the new system, the correct answer is always going to be that the PM should facilitate the process of getting them the training that they need for that specific system or process. So just keep that in mind when you take the PMP exam. So we look forward to seeing you in question number 11.